Okay. 1914. Sarvam kalakritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayoriva ghanavalihi. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. There is control by time all over the space within the universe. All over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the big gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala or time controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava, following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of the time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. Okay, so Kala is a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. So time, the definition of time here is not just past, present, future. Meaning, we talk about past, present, future because of the effects of time in terms of destruction. Meaning, something was there yesterday, something is there today, it will not be there tomorrow. This is why this is how normally time as a word is used in Shastra with respect to the material universe. So time means creation, maintenance, destruction. This is time. So it's a forceful representative, meaning nobody can escape this effect of time within the material world. What happens in the spiritual world? What happens in the spiritual world? Any idea? Is there time or there's no time?
There's no kala there, Prabhuji. So
There's no kala. Means
no time.
no time. So there is no morning, afternoon, evening. They're not there. So that is why we should understand the destructive aspect of time is not there, right? Which is there only in the material world. In the spiritual world, obviously there is time, right? Krishna has eightfold pastimes, Ashtakaliya Leela, Ashtakala. So Kala is there, not the destructive aspect of time. But actually, the Kala in the spiritual world is also an aspect of Yoga Maya. to facilitate Lord's pastimes. So, uh, so though everything in the spiritual world is completely conscious, and spiritual, still there is sleep, there is waking up, there is sunrise, there is sunset, there is moon, mm, there is eating, all these kinds of things are there, right? So it's a very beautiful. Um, so spiritual world has time, but without the destructive aspect. But of course, I mean, the pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual world are so spiritual world is such that every day, even if the same service is being done, because actually um, devotees have um, fixed service that they have to do, right? But it is always ever fresh. It's almost like this is the first time it's being done. So it Kala has a very time has a very different kind of influence. Here also there is forgetfulness. There also there is forgetfulness, but there's a different type of forgetfulness. And Kala, here we have seasons, mm, like which appear one after the other. But in Vrindavan, there are different parts of the forest where all the 6 seasons are present at the same time. Mm. So it's a we can't imagine. We can't imagine what it is, what the spiritual world is, right? And though um, it's inconceivable and it's what should you say? When we hear it, we feel like, yeah, can we experience something like this? Uh, because it's unheard of in the material world and it's unique, uh, right? So, which is why we have to hear more. We have to hear more about the spiritual world. We have to hear more about Krishna and his pastimes. So then we will understand, saying that, oh, what I'm getting attracted with in this material world is really useless. I think there's really nothing worth getting attracted when I compare it with what is happening in the spiritual world. Mm. So we are very, enamored by maybe traveling in a fast uh, car, right? Um, traveling in the stupid, horrible traffic, Bangalore traffic. Mm. Uh, but spiritual world is so beautiful that simply the lotus flower just contracts or folds, and Krishna just moves from one part of Vraj to another. So anything and everything that, yeah, I mean, for those who are attracted by the beauty of this material world, the beauty of the spiritual world. mm, So there is nothing like earth, sand, dirt of this material world doesn't exist in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is no tar. What is there in the spiritual world? There are roads, there are payments, uh, but it's all made of precious stones. So it's just, and still there is Krishna when he comes back, Goduli time. He says that there is dust. Krishna is covered by dust. This is not the dust like we see here. So anything and everything we see in this material world has something so inconceivable in the spiritual world. Mm. And it applies to time as well. Actually, there are various scriptures which actually, in very great detail, discuss the glories of Vrindavan. One such book is Gopala Champu, which everybody can read. It's not esoteric. It's basically 10th canto only. Jiva Goswami has given a Rajadham perspective to even Dwarka Lila. It's a very nice presentation. So in that, the first part, initial part, there's description about Vrindavan, Govardhan. Very beautiful. Of course, there are many other scriptures as well, which are describing Vrindavan. So yeah, but that force, there also time has is a forceful aspect of time. What is the forceful aspect of time? That Krishna and Radha have to separate in the morning to go back to their homes. There's a forceful aspect of time. That forceful aspect of time separates them. And then all the manjaris and some special gopas, all their work, all their reason for existence is to just make Radha and Krishna meet again. Again, that is time. So Radha and Krishna are waiting for the time when they can meet. So it also has a different type of forceful aspect. Hmm. So all the manjaris have to get up before Radha and Krishna wake up in the morning. So there is time. So they have to get up, get things ready for Aarti, etc. before Radha Krishna get up. So it's beautiful. Time also exists there, but it has a very different characteristic. Thus, Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. This is for, we are again back in the material world. From the beautiful spiritual world, we come back to the material world, and yeah, inconceivable action of time which brings happiness and suffering. Everyone has to bear as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Prabhupada is not saying as long as one is within the material world. He's saying as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. See, these things also we should give attention when we are reading. We should not think that, okay, as long as I'm in this material world, I have to bear the actions and reactions of time. No. Only till at the time I am within the conditions of the material world, I have to bear the actions and reactions of time. So we can raise about this conditions of the material world, which is all this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, ignorance. So, Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. We have to raise. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins. Okay, this is specific to Yudhishthira because Bhishma is referring to Yudhishthira and Pandavas. They were not suffering like us because of karma. But of course, Prabhupada is saying even the most pious person in the material world has to suffer. Even the great controller of universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of time. So one should not grudge. You should not grudge time. We are controlled by time. We should not grudge being thus controlled by time. Despite a true follower of religious principles. Now, if you are not a true follower of religious principles, then where is the question of grudging? One second. Yeah, so we should not grudge being controlled by time, and we should just accept it as a result of some nonsense we have done. Like I'm experiencing now, having to cough in the middle of the class. Yeah, we just go on. Whatever it is, accept it and go on. 1915. Yatra dharmasuto raja gadapanirvrukodaraha Krishno strigandivam chapam surut Krishnastato vipat. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses? In the presence of King Yudhishthir, the son of the demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. How can there be reverses? Vipat. Reverses means vipat. How can there be all these difficult situations for the Pandavas? Even though Yudhishthira is there, Bhima, Arjuna, and above all, Krishna is there, who is the well-wisher of the Pandavas. As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there is no scarcity in the case of Pandavas. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was a symbol of religion. And above all of them, the person of Godhead Lord Sri Krishna was personally concerned with their affairs as the well-wisher. In Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, Jayastu Panduputranam Esham Pakshe Janardana. Jayastu Panduputranam Esham Pakshe. In whose paksha, in whose side, on whose side Janardana, Krishna is there. Whose side Krishna will be there? The side of people like the Pandavas. There will be Jaya, victory. Why? Because Krishna is personally concerned. Krishna is personally concerned. And yet there were so many reverses. We talk about our lives and our problems. In spite of all this glorious qualification, in spite of all this, there are so many, not one or two, so many reverses on the side of the Pandavas. And like yesterday we were discussing, we just go from one problem to another. Think of the Pandavas. What were they? What was their life? One after the other. But they never looked at it as problems. Right? So that is the difference. They were not living within the conditions of the material world. And of course, I mean, they're setting examples. Krishna created these situations for higher reasons, glorification of devotees, etc., etc., etc. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons, under the direct supervision of the law of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. And this is not karma. Kala is identical with the Lord himself. And therefore, the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. What does Kala indicate? The inexplicable wish. Inexplicable. I mean, we can't explain. We shouldn't try to explain. Oh, why is this happening? It is the inexplicable wish of the Lord. There's nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. So we should just take it as the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. Many times we are always behind, running after finding reasons as to why this happened, why that happened. Simply we should understand that it is the inexplicable wish of the Lord. That's all. There's nothing to be lamented. Matters beyond control of any human being. The thing is, nowadays people are going all out behind things, that where do we draw the line beyond control? Because there's no end to endeavor at all. You can keep on endeavoring. Previously, it was not like this. Mm. There used to be limitations to how much a person could endeavor in terms of facilities available, etc., etc., etc. Like, for example, if somebody is unwell, there's some one doctor available, right? That's all. He is not able to cure, then nothing else. They're not going to go to other towns, cities, looking for some doctor, right? Like that. That's all. It just goes beyond control of human being at that point of time. But today there are no boundaries at all. Mm. So we can go on endlessly trying to solve our problems. So which is why people are so worked up in Kali Yuga. Mm. Previously, people used to come to the situation of just accepting, saying, "Okay, that's it. Let me just accept it." But today it is seen as giving up attitude. Why? Because there are so many options. May or may not be the right options, but there are options. Mm. So when does the person in Kali Yuga come to the state of accepting, saying that this is the inexplicable wish of the Lord? When it goes really, really above, as in way, 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 way above his ability, his contacts, his mm, span of influence, etc., etc. But we have to learn that it is all the inexplicable wish of the Lord. Whether it be karma, whether it be kala, meaning karma means normal, ordinary jivas who are affected by their karma phala. Right, and devotees who are surrendered to the Lord. Um, right, for them it's mostly kala. Mostly the inexplicable wish of the Lord. Well, there's nothing to be lamented. Okay, we'll finish this also. Nahyasya karhichid rajan puman veda viditsitam yad vijignasaya yukta muhyanti kavayopihi. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord, Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. No one can know. That is why Prabhupada in the previous purport already said, it is the inexplicable wish. No one can know. Why Krishna is doing what he is doing, only he knows. The bewilderment of Maharaj Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant sufferings, etc., is completely negated by the great authority Bhishma, one of the 12 authorized persons, Mahajana. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So, what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. So, which means just saying why this, why this, why this. No, don't have to waste time on that because it's just not possible to ascertain. And the best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. Simply follow whatever Guru and Krishna say. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. The Lord had to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. So clearly, Prabhupada is explaining why Pandavas had to suffer. For this reason, Bhishmadeva was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhishma could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because the Lord wanted to show that vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless of who tries to execute it. Bhishmadeva was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord, because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side. So, like this, there are various reasons Lord wanted to experience Veera Rasa. But more importantly, from a dharma, upholding dharma perspective, you wanted to show that individually you might be great dharmic person, but if you are on the wrong side, then no use. So dharmic person means you should be on the dharmic side, on the right side. So vice cannot conquer virtue. Many times devotees are also concerned. Many people come and ask, okay, if I'm just remain very humble and submissive, will people not take advantage? Vice cannot conquer virtue. We should understand this. Lord will not let the wrong conquer the right. But he will have various other reasons, because his plan is, nobody can understand his plan. So he might still make it, I mean, it might seem like the vice has conquered virtue, but in reality, no. So, yeah, no one can know the plan of the Lord. We have to just remember this. And simply, like Prabhupada is saying, best policy is to simply abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. Krishna is saying, Tam Sthiti Kshasva Bharata, simply abide by the order. Life will be more peaceful. Okay, stopping here. Any points? Anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, going back to the sentence right now that you've read,
Yeah.
that what the best policy is to simply abide by the orders of the Lord without argument.
Yeah.
Right, Prabhu. Like in yesterday, like we said, what cannot be cured has to be endured. It's
Yeah.
simply this. But then, Prabhu, like, see, it's not that we're always doing good. We are doing bad. We're doing this thing. And you are saying, don't reason. Don't see that. ये तो बोला जाता है ना, मेरा कर्म भी ऐसे है, मेरा टाइम भी ऐसे था, टाइम खराब था, इसीलिए ऐसे हुआ. We do, if we don't find reasons, how do we move, Prabhu? How we improve ourselves? We do, it's not all the time we are in goodness. I mean, there are so many atrocious things we do, and then we see a reason for it. Acha, ye aise isliye ho gaya. We sometimes blame kala, we blame karma, like even the Bhagavatam says 5 things are very important: time, place also plays an important part. Time plays an important part. How do you understand? How do you understand that you can't reason with it? And if you just leave it to the Lord, then what is actually a karma then? Even Krishna conscious, leave it to it becomes just God's will. Guru, whatever bad we do, we'll say, okay, Bhagwan ne karwaya. How do you understand?
No, I think, okay, there's a little bit we have to understand. So you're not saying that it is leave it because it is the will of the Lord. It's saying don't grudge over it because it is the will of the Lord. Right? Now, whenever there's any situation, how much do we actually try to learn from a situation as much as a lament due to the situation?
But
Right?
you said, Prabhu, don't reason don't find the reason. You have to reason with it, no, Prabhu.
No, don't find the reason, meaning what is the cause for this? Right? Now,
Yeah.
for example, I'll tell you, like suppose say, okay, I've been coughing. Now, first thing people ask is, what did you do? Why is there cough? Right? I mean, we don't have to go about finding a reason for that. We should, of course, understand the situation, and whatever we need to do, right or wrong. See, that is why Prabhupada is saying, don't try to understand the underlying reason, but simply follow the orders. Orders means what? Okay, if I've done, says, okay, I have to live like a sadhu. Okay, I did some nonsense. It seems to be the immediate reason for my suffering. Okay, fine. Let me stop being nonsense. Right? But is that the real reason? That's not the real reason. The real reason is something else, right? And we can never get to the real reason. Immediate reasons yeah, there'll be so many immediate reasons.
Apparent reason.
Apparent reasons, right? I mean, yeah, but what is the point? I mean, okay, even if you get the apparent reason, what are we really achieving? And even if you don't get the apparent reason, Should that is does it mean that we stop following the right path? So following the right path has nothing to do with whether we are thinking deep about the reason, the cause for our suffering or happiness. Following the right path anyway has to be done. It's like brushing teeth. Do we think get up and think saying that should I brush my teeth today or not? Oh, I'm bored. No, I mean we have to do the right things. Now, irrespective whether I'm suffering, whether I'm happy, I have to try and do the right things. So why should there be any trigger for us to do the right things? Right? So that has nothing to do with this. This is about searching, going behind searching. First is, many people when they have problems, first thing they'll say, why me? And they're trying to find that that answer to that question, why me? Why me? Why me? Right? Or trying to find that apparent reason. No, there's no use finding that apparent reason. It's not going to prevent another occurrence. The normal reason why people try to find this apparent reason is thinking, saying that, hey, you know what? Okay, I ate ice cream, I got throat pain. So maybe next time in this season or whatever, I will not eat ice cream. So why people are actually really thinking about those apparent reasons is just to hope with the hope that maybe I can prevent future similar suffering. But that's ridiculous, right? Because that is just an apparent reason. And the whole so much of energy wasted behind trying to find the apparent reason is like useless. But where should the energy go? The energy should go, okay, yeah, in understanding right and wrong, not doing the wrong, doing the right. That anyway has to happen all the time. And Prabhupada is not saying in the purport saying that because it is the will of the Lord, haath pe haath rakh ke baith jao. Right. He's not saying that. He's saying, yeah, you follow the orders. Okay, Krishna wanted Pandavas to fight. Okay, fine. Let's fight. No, if you if they started thinking, saying that, why did this happen? We were always followers of dharma. What is the use? Because they were followers of dharma and they got into difficulty. Now thinking about it, will they say, no, 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 I'm not going to follow dharma? No. So any of this is useless, right? The only thing is we have to, whenever there's something thrust upon us, we have to suffer. If we have to suffer, we have to suffer. We have to simply accept it as the wish of the Lord. And whatever we have to do when that situation happens, we have to do, which is for devotees, it is following paradharma. For normal human beings, it is following swadharma. And dharma has to be followed. And that is why for devotees, Prabhupada is clearly saying, follow the orders of the Lord, follow the orders of Guru. That's all.
And taking precautions, Prabhu. Like now with
No, it's not
the
going to help.
example of ice cream.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, you
like
can.
with an like when even at home we also do the same thing. Acha, don't do this now. You'll catch a cold.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I'm
Okay.
saying normal routine things. See,
Okay.
if you know that, if I eat ice cream, I'm going to have cough. It's, it
Don't eat it.
obviously makes sense saying that why do you want to know eat ice cream, right? Because your
Right.
body is
Right.
designed in such a way that you know that certain things will end up in some suffering. You can avoid.
That's it.
But I'm saying that's not the crux of the problem,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's not the crux of the situation, right? It's fine. Whatever. This is samanya dharma, right? Some things you learn some things that you learn as we live life, yeah, we can use them, like see but again this is also so temporary, right? Because for example somebody had some major illness, then their body type only changed, uh, right? Then what will you do? Again you'll have to relearn. As in I'm saying it's okay. I mean we don't have to make complicated. Okay, you figured saying that eating ice cream causes cough. For me, 2 out of 3 times it happens, fine, let me stop eating ice cream, right? Or in some weather something, that's okay.
Yes, sir.
That's not a heavy load on the brain, right? That's a very simple example, right? Like for example, think about a situation where somebody said something to you, right? And you felt bad. Now we go into, suppose, what do we do with this kind of situations? I mean, we go drill deep into this thing. मैंने क्या कहा, उन्होंने क्या किया, मैंने तो कुछ नहीं किया, उन्होंने. I mean, this
And
going
carries
into
on.
this is not going to help us come out of the situation. It's not going to help us learn. All we are going there is just to vent out our frustration, and
Frustration.
ultimately what we want to accomplish, that I was right, they were
Pity.
wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, either I was right, they were wrong, or self pity, either of them.
Self pity.
But really we're not achieving anything except getting engrossed in that particular situation more and more and getting entangled, right? maybe making more sins mentally, by thinking bad about somebody, whatever, right? I mean, it's all useless. Basically, it's just more bondage. That's all,
Classes for me.
right?
Yes, Prabhu.
So we have to just, so Krishna is saying that ultimately just forget about the apparent cause. The ultimate cause is Krishna. It could be karma or kala based on our who we are. Right? And simply focus on that. Okay, why Krishna wants me to suffer? Because I did something wrong when sometime previously. So what should I do? Correct myself. What are the means to correct? Surrender to Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Preach Krishna consciousness. That's all. Right? And of course, materially, right and wrong, try to follow, etc. Right? So that is the real change. Right? So the real change that we have to bring about is I am suffering because I did something wrong. So can I now make sure that I'm not going to do anything wrong? And the only way I'm not going to do anything wrong is only when I'm on the spiritual platform. Because if I come down to the material platform, we have all possibilities of doing sinful stuff, wrong stuff. So that seems to be the only learning we should get from all our situations, right? Is that I should just try as much as possible to remain on the transcendental platform because material platform is dangerous. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we'll stop here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. वैष्णव की जय. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat